Hey folks, Jang here from ultimaterc.com and the URC forums. Just wanted to give some after run commentary, a little bit of feedback based on my run today with the Traxxas E-Maxx that I've tuned up just a little bit. It was the very last video before this one that showed a little bit of the running footage from today. Put 2 sets of packs through the thing out there on the track at NorCal Hobbies, and basically just wanted to sum it up saying that I'm much happier with it now. The handling is actually very similar, or the feel is very similar to the last time that I ran this thing. The last time that I ran it, it was running the stock Titans. It was practically a stock truck. It was running the stock Titan brushed motors. It was running the stock shocks with the stock oil and the stock springs, and it didn't have a lot of pep in its step. Now I'm running a 1/8 scale brushless motor system. It's a 40 by 68 millimeter can, not the longest possible can, not quite as much power as a Mamba Monster or anything in that class, but not too far down from it. For this video to make sense, for any of my E-Maxx videos to make sense that have been done recently, you need to watch them in order. You can see exactly what was done, how, and why. But the net result is that compared to the vehicle as I drove it before, it's feeling very similar on the track. It's moving around very similar, except it's much faster now. It's faster, and most importantly, it's quicker. Now, I did mention when I was doing the brushless motor install that I did not have a large enough pinion gear, and that indeed is the case. I think I put a 17 on there. It needs something a little bit bigger than that, but it wasn't as bad as I expected it to be. The speed was capped on the front stretch, the main straightaway on the track where I ran, but it wasn't that bad. The motor wasn't overheating from being under geared. So all in all, not such a bad experience there, and just being quicker for it to have similar characteristics. When you make a vehicle faster, it's going to put more stresses on the suspension. It's going to want to squat more under acceleration when it has more power to accelerate at a greater rate. It's going to want to dive more under braking when you have more braking power. It's going to want to lean more in turns when you're turning at higher speeds, and especially when you're changing speed in a turn, whether you're off throttle and you're losing a little bit of speed, it's going to dive to that outside front corner, or if you get on throttle, it's going to want to squat back and lean back on that outside rear corner. And the net result of putting on stiffer springs and putting in stiffer shock oil is that I'm getting similar chassis movement to what I had before. With it's just on a different scale. Everything is just sped up. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm actually I wasn't so much disappointed by the speed of the servos this time. Maybe I was just getting used to it a little bit more. I think at slow speeds, it's more responsive now because of the stiffer suspension. So that may have just made up for some of the sluggishness that I was feeling in the steering previously. But I'm just going to call it on this one. There are definitely things that could continue to be done without swapping out, swapping in a low center of gravity chassis. But I think what needs to be done next to make this thing handle better on a track is need to give it an increase in droop again, which is going to require that I move the shocks in, and then I'm going to need to stiffen them up a little bit more, and then with more droop, I'm also going to need to take some of the sway out of it, which would mean fabricating up some custom sway bars again, just like in the old days. And I know what the net result is going to be. I've done this enough times, and basically it would end up handling similar to the way that it does now. I would just be less frequently bottoming out over jumps. I also need to go up a couple teeth on the pinion, which just would give me more straightaway speed and allow me to clear jumps a little bit farther, especially the 8th scale line jump on the NorCal track at the far outside, far upper right corner of that track. Could use a little bit more top end there on an electric, but you know, I basically have done the experimentation with this thing. This thing is now actually handling every bit as well as my very first E-Maxx did that I fully raced out back in the day. Even though this one has a higher center of gravity than that one did, this one is acting more responsive now, and it's more stable thanks to the fact that the modern E-Maxx is wide tracked and has a much longer wheelbase. And I've got every bit as much power as I did back in the day thanks to brushless motors. I probably have more power now than I did with that old brushless hacker motor. I think it was a B50S, I want to say. I don't remember the exact specs on it, but it was back in, what was that, 2001, back when most people had never heard of brushless motors in the land world. In aircraft, they were already pretty common. I'm happy with the results. You know, make changes, see results, and things are going as expected. So I've got a lot more vehicles to work on, a lot more stuff that's backed up in the queue that I want to get through. So rather than continuing to work on this one and do things that I know are going to have the desired effects, just to get it to a point where it will run still better on a track when there is no such thing as monster truck racing anymore of this type. I mean, it's probably, you know, some people still do race things like this in small numbers in various places, but independent suspension monster truck racing is very much a thing of the past in RC, and I do not expect to see it come back. So it's, you know, there's nothing really practical about this build. It was just this tuning sequence was really just a curiosity thing, and just wanted to try it. You know, I was just interested in it, and so like I said, I'm going to call this one for now. I am just going to put it aside and say that this one is done. Move on to other stuff that is in need of attention, stuff that's been in need of attention for months and months. So that's it. Oh, one other thing. I did have a breakage today in my run, very early on in the run when I was getting used to the throttle response of the new brushless system. It was still a very new thing to me. I took the jump all wrong and did 2 throttle corrections in the air, forward and back, and ended up putting the thing into a mean cartwheel and did have a breakage. I broke a rear turnbuckle toe link end, little plastic piece at the end, just one of those from some really nasty hits. Also bent a turnbuckle, just stock turnbuckle, just a little bit, but you know, that's no big deal. Just bend it back, you know, no big deal there. And then the end was, you know, they come, what, 6 in a pack for $3 or something like that. So still holding up. I did have a bunch of crashes today. That one was the worst one, definitely, but I had a bunch of others, and things seem to be holding up, and I'm good. I'm done with this one. I'm moving on. So thanks for watching. Again, if you haven't seen the series of videos that I've done on the E-Maxx, you can just look at them, you know, search them up by name, E-Maxx, and then look at them by date, and it just kind of has a sequence showing where I've gone with this in just a couple of retunes. So that's it. Thank you very much, and I'll be talking to you again real soon.